Katie Florio from the Clemson Insider here with senior writer Will Vandervoort. And today, Dabo Swinney held his Tuesday weekly press conference. Will, you were there. What were some key things you heard from that?
Well, the thing I took away from it was Coach Swinney was sort of in a zone, if you will. Normally, Coach Swinney comes in and he's like talking to us, and he's got he goes on and on with questions. So if we ask a question, he may go 5-minute answer. His answers are very short and to the point today, and he's only done that a couple times during his 8 years as the head coach. And so it was a little surprising. The press conference only lasted like 25 minutes. I think all of us said I think that's a record-setting press conference for Coach Swinney. His opening introduction was only 2 minutes long, which never is that short. It was also a record introduction. Trust me, these are records. We keep up with these, and so it was very different, which told me, and I wrote in my story that you can find on the Clemson Insider, that he was in the zone. Dabo Swinney was already ready. He's got his game face on. He's ready to go. So if Coach Swinney's ready to go, the team is ready to go. That could be good and bad, because you don't want to be ready to go on Tuesday. You want to be ready to go on Saturday. Now, and Dabo Swinney, we trust, obviously. So I think he'll obviously make sure the team is not ready to play today. But definitely the head coach and this coaching staff, I think, is ready for Auburn. And there's a lot of reasons. I think some of you know why that probably is the case. So it was interesting to see Coach Swinney today. A different attitude than most Tuesdays with us.
And then we also heard from defensive coordinator Brent Venables, and he talked about how the coaching staff has watched video of Jarrett Stidham, who is Auburn's quarterback, and Clemson didn't see him last year. He transferred from Baylor, sat out last year, so they have a lot to look at. Yeah,
they do. And the coaches have gone back and looked at him. Obviously, his throwing styles, things of that nature. When he's at Baylor, the scheme he ran at Baylor totally different than what Gus Malzahn and what the new offensive coordinator are going to do this year. So it's totally different. So there's a little bit. Yeah, you kind of know who he is as a quarterback, but you don't know how they're using him in this scheme, because last week they played Georgia Southern and really didn't show anything. They were very vanilla, didn't show much at all. Kendall Joseph was telling us that today, that he didn't get anything from that Georgia Southern game, and so they're having to go back and watch tape of the new offensive coordinator the last couple of years and what he's done and what his schemes are and stuff like that. And then and the coaches obviously are watching Baylor and the other, all this tape. I don't know how they do it personally, because that's a lot of tape they have to watch. But this is what they get paid for. And this is why they make those big bucks. And so there's a lot of unknowns for Clemson coming into this game. As I pointed out to Kendall Joseph, this seems more like an opening game than the second game of the year, because you just don't know what Auburn's going to do.
Then another player we talked to is Dorian O'Daniel, and he seemed to have a little aggravation between the SEC ACC thing.
Yeah, he did. He was he was asked a question first, and I think he took it wrong first. So first time he was like, yeah, he did that whole next game's the most important one. We don't care who we're playing. And they're like, no. Do you get up personally for just that you're playing an SEC team? And he says, well, yeah, he says, because it seems like everybody's riding on the coattails of the SEC. And he says, so basically we get tired of hearing about it. Everybody's saying the win that we had last year at Auburn, we were lucky and all that stuff. And so he kind of fired the first shots of this week and basically said, they got something to prove against Auburn, and they're ready to show people that last year wasn't a fluke, that they beat Auburn at Auburn, and they're ready to come out here and show that they can do that here with an Auburn team that everybody's saying loaded. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I can't wait till it gets here Saturday night.
It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very interesting. I think it'll be, a great matchup, like you said. They're very hungry and, eager to prove that they can handle this. So keep up with the Clemson Insider all week as we continue our coverage leading up to the Auburn game this Saturday night in Death Valley.